Republican infighting is threatening to topple the party's strategy to regain control of Congress in the upcoming midterm elections. At the center of the discord, last year's Capitol attack, the center of two GOP lawmakers and former President Trump. Let's bring in Caitlin Huey-burns. She's covering this from Washington. Caitlin, good to see you. Welcome back. I know you've been back for a couple of days, but we haven't spoken.
It's still nice to see you.
Welcome back.
Hi, good morning. It's great to be back from maternity leave, and I love seeing you guys in that new set. Looks amazing.
Can't wait to have you here. But let's get into this. So give us an overview of this battle between Trump loyalists and those opposed to him. I know it's sort of interesting. There's sort of these two competing narratives. There's this narrative that, Mitch McConnell is sort of positioning his candidates that he feels are true conservatives, true Republicans, to combat those that President Trump is sort of pushing. But there are others who are saying, I don't read too much into that. McConnell still recognizes that this is Donald Trump's Republican Party.
Exactly. So here's kind of the landscape here. You have Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader, who would very much like his old job back as Senate Majority Leader. And he's looking at the map and looking for ways for Republicans to take over the Senate. And they have some pretty favorable conditions. They feel like they can go after the Biden administration on the economy, on inflation, on a host of issues, on crime. They want to be talking about how they can make those contrasts with the Democrats. And so they're looking for ways to boost their numbers in the midterms and gain the majority back. McConnell has also been looking at recent history. Remember that Georgia Senate race where Democrats won those two key runoff races, which gave them the majority in the Senate? Well, a lot of Republicans blame Donald Trump for losing those races because, remember, at the time, he went in there and was still talking about the election, making false claims and lies about how the election was rigged, and that really deterred Republicans from showing up. So that's kind of what McConnell is looking at. On the other hand, however, you have this recent move by the RNC, the Republican National Committee, censuring Republicans, Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, for participating in the Select Committee to investigate those January 6th attacks, the insurrection. So on one hand, you have Republicans really still trying to focus on January 6th and punishing their own, and Mitch McConnell looking at a very different landscape. And another dynamic here, which is going to be really interesting to watch as we're heading into the primaries, is that the House and Senate operate very differently when it comes to politics. You have everything I just talked about with the Senate and McConnell looking for ways to make those contrasts with Democrats, focusing less on Trump. House Republicans have a different MO, really, because they're looking at districts that are pretty shored up because of redistricting, and we'll get some new maps as well. So they have a very different dynamic with Donald Trump, where you're going to see that play out in primary fights, kind of endearing themselves to the former president. As we're talking about the midterms coming up, guys, it's really important to know that voting is actually already underway. Yesterday, early voting started in Texas, and so we're going to start to get those data points pretty soon.
Yeah, with those elections now starting in the primaries, I'm wondering, Caitlin, who is the former president endorsing in the elections, and how is fundraising turning out for some of those MAGA candidates in key competitive races where there is a schism in the Republican Party?
Yeah, it's a great question, Lana, and this is something that we've been looking at. What's really interesting is that Trump is a very powerful fundraiser for himself. We have seen him endorse lots of different candidates this cycle. We're expecting more endorsements to come out. He's been getting into congressional and Senate races. He's been particularly supportive of those who are supportive of him, especially in Republican primaries, and very much interested in punishing those who have gone against him. However, the fundraising for those candidates isn't really following suit at this point. Some of those candidates that he's endorsed have really struggled to fundraise against the Republicans that they're running against. And there is a big question on how Trump is going to spend his money. He has about $120 million in his own war chest. That shows that he is, of course, interested in a rerun in 2024 for himself. But the big question is, will he spend money on candidates, and does that endorsement endorsement help to raise actual money. A key race to watch in this regard is that Wyoming congressional race with Liz Cheney. Remember, Trump endorsed her opponent, but Cheney has proven record fundraising for herself. We won't get those results, though, until the August primary in Wyoming, but still one to watch.
Yeah, I find that really fascinating. Also, Lisa Murkowski in Alaska,
Exactly.
Caitlin, I think that's a really interesting race there. And I've read reports that Mitch McConnell, former President Trump called him an old crow, that Mitch McConnell's been sending autographed bottles of Old Crow whiskey to some donors, which sort of shows you that he's taking it all in stride. Never count Mitch McConnell out. Caitlin, great to see you. Can't wait to welcome you here in New York, but I know you're in D.C. now, so we can only dream. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Thanks so much, guys.